I often tell the story of how I got into B2B sales, enterprise sales. I had originally done an inside sales job, telesales, pounding the phones all day long, boiler room type selling, even though it was at high tech, B2B, but it was still boiler room, calling people who don't know me, don't know my company. You get some leads, but not enough, of course. And then I went to a premier company, a company that was backed by Arthur Rock, the guy who financed Apple, Intel, the father of venture capital. And this company was rocking, except for no one was buying their product. And I wasn't hired as a sales guy. I was hired as a pre-sales guy, the guy who gives the demos, the guy who does the installations, who integrates the product with all the other customers. And I did that for about a year, but I got sick of it in the fact that I didn't see people appreciating the product. I didn't see the salespeople selling it in a way that was going to scale. They were great top-down salespeople. Top-down meaning they would go in high, CEO, senior executive, sell the vision, and they were reasonably successful at this. And this product was $1 million product. This is not a cheap product. And this is $1 million in $1990, so it's like $2.5 million today. And they did it, and it would kind of work in that they'd get the money, but no, they never bought another product from us. Why? They weren't using it. And this kind of eluded everybody at the company. I kind of saw it because I was there. People weren't using the product. Why? It wasn't because the product was hard to use. The product was hard to integrate into all the other products that they needed to leverage it. So it was really early stage. And I begged, I pleaded, I cajoled, I threatened to quit to get a sales job. And I then started doing the top-down, but I was terrible at it. I was an engineer. I had never really presented to executives. I didn't know how to talk to them. I was talking to them about the product. They didn't care about the product. They cared about what the product did for them, what it did for their company, what it did for them politically. And I sucked at that. I was terrible at it. So I had a couple of approaches. I could either go figure out how to be good at that. Good 5 years. Not going to happen. 5 years will go by, but they would probably fire me in the meantime. Or I could sell it in a way that I saw as being successful. I sold it differently than everyone else at the company. And I was a kid, and I was competing against the most senior salespeople. People who were making $500,000 a year back then. And these guys were killers. They were sharks. They could literally walk into a company, meet with an executive, because they had come from big companies, HP. They had relationships with these people. They had, 10, 15, 20 years of serving these accounts. And I'm competing against them. I'm a kid. I'm the guy down in the lab. So I had to figure out a different way, and that's what I did. And I got to tell you, within a year, I was the #1 rep. And not by 10%, by over 100%. I was doing more in a dumpy territory that no one wanted than the whole West Coast was. And, the president of the company came out and wanted to dissect my brain, because he was like, we got to figure out what you're doing and repeat it. And they did that. And they sold that company for $2.3 billion. It wasn't just me, and it was the approach I took. I was no magical sales guy. I cracked the code. And you can crack the code. It's not that hard, but you got to think differently. And you got to do it.